let me relay a message from Andrew, an iron mind. Free Andrew and Tristan one more time. Andrew and Tristan believe in this philosophy called iron mind, and they got it through kickboxing. And the philosophy is that you have to always do the harder thing. Pause.
Bomboka!
You have to always do what's more difficult, because when you want that ice cream, you could just go eat the ice cream and then it's like, it's an ice cream. Or when you want that ice cream, you go and do a whole workout. You go and do 15 push-ups. And then when you eat the ice cream, it tastes 3 times better, because now you've earned it. Now you appreciate it. Now you're hungrier. Now it's calories that it's going to be useful. There's calcium and there's some protein in ice cream. Before, you were just some idiot, ice cream. But now you've earned it. And you have to think of it like this. Out there, because it's player versus player out here. That's what Andrew always says. It's player versus player out here. You got to work hard. The same girl that you want, that 10 out of 10, because we all want the 10 out of 10. That's what I want to get wifed up to. Someone else wants her. Every dollar that you want, somebody else is trying to get it too. So every time you don't do that extra rep in the gym, every day that you decide, I'm tired today, you don't go, someone is going. Every time that you could fall asleep early so that you could wake up earlier and go to the gym and do your work, and you choose to press rotation on your phone, someone is harvesting that testosterone, is waking up earlier, and is going to be able to fuck that 10 out of 10 that much better while you are destroying your dopamine and destroying your idea of sex by rotating your screen. So every time you want to get a cheap dopamine fix, think about the fact that there's somebody out there who's not doing it. And you're competing with everybody. You have to create an iron mind, and the way to do that is create this villain. You need somebody to fight against. You need an active opponent. And they created this because they were kickboxing for so long. So they always had an opponent, they always had an adversary. And now, after kickboxing, their adversary is the Matrix. They're in jail for fighting them, and they'll win that fight. But you need an opponent. And we're not all gonna be kickboxers. We're all not gonna be, fighting the Matrix and getting played in the center or whatever. Everybody has their own opponent. The best opponent to create is someone in your own head. You're a villain in your head, right? And that villain is the better version of you. That villain does not press rotate. That villain sees that 10 out of 10 walking outside and decides to go and talk to her and ask for her Instagram. Instead of like, well, what if she says no? He still talks to her, says you're beautiful, goes up to her, introduces himself. That villain is always doing that extra when you're tired and you're like, no, the fuck. That villain is still gonna push through and get that last rep in. When you don't feel like working, when you're lazy and you decide to go scroll on TikTok and YouTube Shorts when you can be creating your business, when you could be studying extra hard, the villain actually did. Every time you take the easy route, that villain did it. And so you should be in constant competition with that perfect version of yourself. And Andrew says to write down that person. What do you want to be? What does that villain do in every single scenario? He's there talking to that girl. He's not, comparing himself to people on Instagram. He's not going through a scroll phase nonstop. He's doing what he actually believes instead of believing all the bullshit on social media. He's not getting brainwashed and getting booster shotted up when inherently he knows that he doesn't trust the government. He's not going to cave in when times are tough, when everybody's pressuring and saying, you have to get this. He decides, no, I'm going to do the right thing. The villain does the right thing in every single circumstance. And so every time you make a decision, every time you pick up something like, when I want a sugar Red Bull and I pick up the sugar-free instead, the villain is always making the better decision. And so you should always be in constant battle with that better version of yourself. And when you think of that, when you're always in competition with that, not only will you treat everybody else nice, because you're not fighting against anyone else except for yourself now. You're gonna be nice to everyone, because you're gonna be a dickhead. The perfect version of yourself is nice to everybody that's around, shaking hands, saying hello, is polite. And that's why Andrew and Tristan, everybody who's been around them, everyone's like, they're great people. Everybody who's around Epstein's like, yeah, that guy was a fucking pervert. Yeah, I believe it. That guy looked like a pedophile. Everybody who's been around Andrew Tristan, great people. That's what happens when if you're just battling against yourself. That's how you become the best version of yourself. Iron